Welcome to Intersections. I'm very pleased today to welcome to our set Jim and Annette Hedges. This is a couple who have had a long-standing relationship with St. John's Citadel, and we're going to peel back some of the layers so that we understand a little bit more of exactly what that means for them. Welcome to Intersections.
Thank you.
Annette, you are known in Salvation Army circles as the Corps Sergeant Major. And for those of you who are watching who are not overly familiar with the structure of the Salvation Army, a Corps Sergeant Major is our chief layperson in our local congregation. And so that is the position that Annette currently holds. Faith is interesting. It intersects with every aspect of our lives, and if we allow it. And so we're going to get some notion of what that means for you. So let's go back to the early days. Annette, let's pick it up with you, because I think St. John's Citadel has been a part of you forever.
Pretty much.
And then you later on brought this guy with you.
Yeah.
So we'll get into that in a moment. So help us out.
Well, we moved to St. John's as a family when I was like 10. And immediately, I don't think we even church shopped when we moved to St. John's. My parents decided St. John's Citadel was where we were going to worship, and here we are.
So you were involved in what kind of activities as a child?
Everything and anything except the band. Girls weren't allowed in the band
Back
when
then,
I was of that age. But
what we missed.
I know. Mm-hmm. So I was involved in a lot of programs, but it wasn't the programs that I remember. It was the people that I remember. It's the people who invested in my life.
Elaborate on that a little bit.
You want to know the people? There were so many a lot of people that are long gone.
Long gone.
Sunday school teachers and choir cadet teachers and singing company leaders that invested time in me.
Yep.
And prayed for me and helped me along on my journey.
Okay.
I don't remember the Sunday school lessons. I remember the Sunday school teachers.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So then you come to the adolescent years, tumultuous for most of us anyway, but your adolescent years, your core involvement, you're expanding your circle, and you bump into somebody or whatever.
Yeah, I ran into this guy, 1980.
Quite literally, knocked me right over.
And I was actually in university in Halifax at the time, so we dated long distance and got engaged long distance. And
Back in the days when you had to write letters by hand.
That's right, that's right. Got to know each other very well by letter, snail mail, and when we decided to get married, we decided that this was going to be our church home.
Okay. So your background, Jim, in the church, or?
I did not come to saving knowledge of Jesus until I was thousands of miles away in the military and 21 years old. So it's an unusual case because many Christians were raised in the church, and I really was not. I met friends when I was stationed overseas who were Christians. Mm-hmm. And I was intrigued by their life, their faith, and what I saw in them. I started to go to the church with them, and Jesus spoke to me. And at 21 years of age, my life just changed. And it's been an amazing trip ever since. That was, like I said, I was 21, so it wasn't yesterday.
No. While we're still on the St. John's Citadel side of things for a moment, you have a very unique opportunity of ministry and participation here.
Sure.
Tell us a little about that.
At the moment, I primarily do the sign language interpretation for the deaf. It was something that only since I've been here at the Citadel has this happened. About 30 years ago, we had a man who was interpreting who was willing to begin teaching sign language to anybody who was interested. And I thought, this would be great. I'm going to go try this out. We had, at the time I was a scout leader, we had boys coming up into the scouts who were deaf, and I thought this would be a great way for me to be able to communicate with them. And it has just basically snowballed since then. Initially I was just learning very basic beginning alphabet and so on, to the point where now I'm interpreting, and I would classify myself as adequate. But as I'm really the only option for the most part, adequate is just got to do. But it is a tremendous blessing in that I get to interact with the people who don't normally interact at church. There's not a lot of people that can communicate with them.
Yeah.
But
And recently, have you not started classes for
Yes.
others to?
yes, in discussing it with the boss, I said, I'm really concerned that, eventually at some point, I'm not going to be here. I'd like to have, at least some people who might be able, hopefully willing, to carry on and be able to communicate with this segment of our society.
Absolutely. Great. So how many have started to come out to the lessons? I mean, this is emerging from the COVID
Sure.
cocoon too, right?
Sure.
So,
We started shortly before COVID, and clearly we were not able to
No.
get together for a lot of time in there. We're just starting to come back again. I will, on average, have 3 or 4 people that will come out, which is great, small
That's
group.
great.
But overall, I think I've got a list of 20, maybe 25 people who have come at different times.
Sure. Well, that's good because the future depends on that, doesn't it?
Oh yeah,
Yeah. It's all got to be about sustainability,
yeah.
right? Great. All right. So let's go back to, I think you gave us a little segue to this question by talking about your military experience. And it will apply to Annette also as it applies to every person who makes this decision. When did you know that faith had to be a personal choice and therefore a constant part of who you are and who you would become?
I think I was always told it,
Yes?
but when I was a teenager, it really, and especially when I moved away from home, it really gelled for me that
Sure.
I needed that relationship, not just
Is
my
there-
parents telling me.
Is there an event, a person, a circumstance that brought you to that?
I can't really pinpoint an event or even a time. It was more of a growth spiritually for
A lot
me.
of tapes playing in the back of your head, maybe?
There were some, there were voices in my head of my parents and my grandparents, especially, like I said, when I moved away to go to university. And I was on my own in a strange place with strange people.
Yeah.
But it was a process for me. It wasn't a one event that I can recall.
And I don't know if you've covered that whole thing the way you want to, or
The only thing, that I'd probably add, the verse says, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock." Absolutely true, because I was hearing that knocking from, again, probably teenage years. Chose not to respond or answer until I met Lawrence and Susan Harvey, very, very wonderful Christian couple. And they helped me to finally open that door and just, say yes.
That's an interesting piece of imagery too, right? Because he doesn't kick that door down,
No.
right? He knocks and plants the seed and leaves the choice to you, right? To us. So yeah, it's very interesting how that comes about. Absolutely. You've raised family. And those of us who have raised families know that, you know what, you're on call and you might as well be on alert too, because when you start to feel comfortable, that's when you should least be comfortable, right? So, you've gone through the raising of your children and they're doing what they're doing as adults in the world now. We'll talk about the parenting years and the role of faith. And I'm not necessarily getting into and at the whole notion of the children. I'm talking about how God, through faith, sustained you as you went through that process.
Well, Jim worked away for a lot of years when the girls were little. For those of you who don't know, we have 4 daughters. And it was rough. I felt like a single parent a lot of the time. Mm-hmm. And now I had my parents and Jim's mother lived in town, so they would help a lot. But I spent a lot of time on my knees, a lot of evenings on my knees when the girls went to bed, praying for them, praying for strength to get through. As a single parent, you're there 24/7.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff that they came up with, man, I would never in a million years have imagined.
No, and that's what I'm saying. When you feel okay, I got a handle on this.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, there's something else here, right, Jim?
I have always maintained that God has a tremendous sense of humor, in that He blessed me with 4 daughters. And it's as Annette said, for a lot of years I was working away, and I could be gone 3 or 4 months at a time. It was not my favorite time, because and people that know me know that I have a real love for and affinity with kids, with younger people, and I missed out on a lot being away. So my bigger issue wasn't so much the issues that I had with raising the kids, because when I was home able to be involved with that, it was a blessing. My bigger issue was having to be separated from them for those periods of time,
Right.
and that was horrible.
Yep. So what sustained you?
Mostly,
The constant.
to be fair.
The
To be
constant.
fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. There are folks in our world, and you've come across them in the world of work and as you interact with people in society in general, who look at faith-based persons a little skeptically and wonder, what's all to this anyway? Is there anything to it? And sometimes, the word crutch gets used. Oh, well, you can always bring out that God thing when you need to, right? How do you respond to that? And from the perspective of, you've lived a long life now of faith, and with the ups and the downs and the blessings and the struggles and all the rest of it, how would you respond to that kind of a challenge from being put to you?
If it's a crutch, I need it. Really, I need God in my life. I need Him to function. And we're all sick, aren't we? We're all in need of a Savior.
Yeah, and you've heard this as well, I'm sure, that, churches are not for the well. Churches are for the spiritually sick, right? And there's some truth in that.
I didn't come for the righteous.
No, he did not. He did not.
I mean, I teach kids every day how to use crutches because they need them.
That's right. That's
And
right.
it's not a bad thing.
Yeah, and that's a physiotherapist. So, yeah.
So.
Yeah. Jim, you want
I've lost track of the number of times that I've, over the course of the years, since I was 21, and
Yes, yeah.
were people who didn't really know me, didn't know that I was a Christian, didn't know that I had this faith, but would come to me and say, "There's something different about you," and it's just not because I go around to talk to people about this, or it's just how I deal with life. I always know that God's got my back. I think it was Prince Caspian, the movie, not the book. Read the books to the kids, it was great. But in the movie, at one point, you see little Lucy standing at one side of a bridge with this tiny little dagger. And on the other side of the bridge, ready to charge across, is this huge army. But the look on her face is, bring it. Right behind her is Aslan. And she's good. That's what my life has been. Or I try to keep on that track because it's, I'm not sure what the correct word is, but fulfilling kind of touches it. It makes me who I am. And it's what people see.
And that difference that people see, it is our hope and our goal that they are attracted to that difference, which then provides opportunity to explain what that difference is.
Yeah.
Right. As we conclude this interview, doubt and struggle can be a part and are part of the faith journey. It ain't no cakewalk. If somebody is presenting you with the notion that you have a come to Jesus moment and then everything in the world is going to be wonderful for you after that, check the source. Because here we are, knowing that there is a struggle. It is a struggle. Some days I can have a mountaintop experience. Some days I'm not. Where's the mountain? So what would you say to anybody listening who may be in that place where they're struggling and they're not so sure about this? They may have been raised in the church. They have been raised around a set of core values of Christianity and so on. But for whatever reason, they're at a place of struggle in their life. What would you say to them?
The battle's already been won. And yes, there are valleys that you go through, but you know that you're going to get through it. That God's gone before you and He's walking there with you. And He'll get you through it.
Yep, I will. Jim?
You keep your eyes on the prize. It's the end result that you're looking for. When Jesus was crucified, the two men that were with Him, one of them accepted who Jesus was, professed it, and was promised, paradise. This day, you're going to be with me in paradise. Yeah. He still had to go through the crucifixion. He still had to go through dying. Yeah. So it didn't instantly, change his life that way. Changed his eternal life.
Thank you, and that's a good note to end on. So thank you very much for sitting and sharing yourselves with me and by way of technology with others. This initiative is designed to help us at the Citadel know each other a little better, because if one thing is true is that we've had such a turnover in people who attend, and so we're at a place now where maybe we don't know each other the way we used to know each other, and so this is one of the intentions of this initiative, and another one is to be of encouragement to others, that people can see that I may not have it all together at this point, and it's okay. It's okay. Yep. But keep as you said, keep your eye on the prize. Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.